But ultimately, we do have to wonder now, ladies and gentlemen, we do have to wonder, is the Politburo collapsing under the weight of its own corruption and degeneracy? So obviously, Angela Rayner announced that she was resigning recently in the midst of a scandal involving stamp duty on her, I believe it was her second home. And here we are. So we have Sky News reporter Beth Rigby, I believe it is, reporting from Downing Street. Here was the presser that went out on Sky News earlier on today. Video coming on screen now.
Well, Sky News understands that Angela Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister, is to leave government. As we understand it, Angela Rayner has resigned from government as Deputy Prime Minister and Housing Minister. That's all the information I have at the moment, but this comes after a torrid few days for the Deputy Prime Minister around property tax and whether she underpaid stamp duty. The Prime Minister has given her support and time to explain herself, but as I understand it, Angela Rayner has had to step down from government.
So there we go, and she has indeed stepped down. So let's count it up a minute, ladies and gentlemen. We have what? Homeless minister resigned for making her tenants homeless in order to gain more money. I have a corruption minister who I believe resigned for corruption. And now we have a housing minister resigning on accounts of, fees to do with her second house and stamp duty. So this is truly nuts. This is truly nuts. And that's why I say, because we have so many things. We have a homelessness minister having to resign because of corruption in order to gain more money out of her tenants and making them homeless in the process. So I have a homelessness minister that had to resign for contributing to homelessness. We have an anti-corruption minister resigning for contributing to corruption. So this is where I'm just thinking now, surely this is the beginning of the end, right? Something is coming. I'm scared of where this is going to go. I don't know where this is going to go. I'm not claiming to have all the answers and be a prophet or anything like that. But is this... I saw some people saying that this was the first domino. Is this indeed the first domino in a long line of things to come with regards to the collapse of the Labour Conservative, uniparty Politburo? So again, I'll read you a little bit of Angela Rayner's statement now, however, because she did confirm that she was resigning from government. She says, "Thank you for the personal and public support you have shown me in recent days." This is addressed to Mr. Starmer. "As you know, on Wednesday, I referred myself to your independent advisor on ministerial standards, Sir Laurie Magnus, to conduct a thorough investigation into my personal financial circumstances after I become aware that it is likely I inadvertently paid the incorrect rate for stamp duty land tax." Before I carry on, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring something up for you, which is very, very troubling indeed, where you can use this as a reference anytime now somebody tries to say that, we live in a free country or anything like that, right? Because tax comes up a lot in our country nowadays and in our government and in everything, in conversations around politics, right? I want to give you a full rundown. I realize there's so many things that have happened. I'm not even going to have a chance to get to the Graham Linehan stuff, or Graham Linehan stuff. So Graham Linehan, turned up to court yesterday, and he doubled down and turned up in the trans, or he put on somebody's sandwich board with the anti-trans stuff on it. Saying no child is born in the wrong body, that kind of anti-trans stuff. Okay, not like saying we should kill trans people or anything like that. Right. But if we have a look at this, ladies and gentlemen, use this as your reference next time somebody says that we live in a free country or prosperous country. This is a direct and indirect tax list for what we have in the UK. We have income tax, capital gains tax, national insurance tax, inheritance tax, value-added tax, insurance premium tax, excise duties tax, stamp duty tax, income tax again, dividend tax, capital gains tax again, council tax, vehicle tax, corporation tax, business rate tax, fuel duty tax, alcohol duty tax, tobacco duty tax, environmental levy tax, emissions trading scheme tax, energy profits levy tax, apprenticeship levy tax, air passenger duty tax, bank surcharge tax, climate change levy tax, digital service tax, electricity generator levy tax, bank levy tax, petroleum revenue tax, and the list goes on. And the list goes on. If you wonder why people, again, are so poor, people, again, are not prospering, it's because they're being kneecapped in so many ways by things like, what was it, climate change levy tax? Climate change levy tax, digital services tax, electricity generator levy tax, all of these things, you wouldn't even know what the hell they mean. But yet you're having to foot the bill for them, whatever they are. So again, the corruption is absolutely endless. The corruption is absolutely endless. So you can't feel sorry for these people. Whether it was she actually did try to do something, she sought advice and she did try to pay it and they got it wrong or whatever. Whether she was just, again, giving the benefit of the doubt is really something which we can't really do anymore with how much we've seen Jess Phillips, for example, kind of saying that she knew about the grooming gangs all along and stuff like that and did nothing, deliberately did nothing, right? I'll see if I can find the clip of that now because that would be a good thing to highlight as well. I think I forgot to bookmark it. But Jess Phillips came up recently and said that, she basically knew everything that was going on and didn't do anything about it deliberately, knew the extent of the abuse and didn't do anything, which we've known about for ages anyway. Can't really give the benefit of the doubt anymore. I deeply regret my decision not to seek additional specialist tax advice given both my permission as housing secretary and my complex family arrangements. I take full responsibility for this error. I'd like to take this opportunity to repeat that it was never my intention to do anything other than pay the right amount. Yes, of course it was. Of course it was. Anyway, you can find the statement down below, ladies and gentlemen, in the links. She signs it off with, "Thank you for your leadership and your friendship. I will continue to serve you, our country, and the party and the movement I love in the weeks, months, and years ahead." Be interesting to see if, I don't know, maybe she defects to Corbyn's party or something like that. Who knows? Who knows? But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, the corruption is absolutely endless. Whether it's Angela Rayner, whether it's whatever her name, something Ali, the ex-homelessness minister, whether it's the anti-corruption minister, it's corruption so much everywhere. And the Welsh government is no different. The Welsh government is no different because the Senedd, I don't know if you knew this, ladies and gentlemen, the Senedd has been funding free legal advice for, I believe, this is most likely illegal immigrants or immigrants in general at the taxpayer expense through their sanctuary service. Here's Mark Drakeford to give you the details on that.
We awarded funding to the Refugee Council, the Welsh Refugee Council, to deliver our Wales-wide sanctuary service. That is funded now until the end of March 2025 at least, and that does provide free immigration legal advice and advice casework teams across Wales.
So there we are. Meanwhile in Wales, many areas of Wales are hit more than others, obviously. You potentially have 30% of children, living in poverty. You've got both parents working and they still can't barely make ends meet, right? People are quite literally, in many areas like mine, have to choose between heating and eating, right? Despite both parents working. Now, granted, there's some things with our attitudes and the things that we have and our priorities and stuff like that as people, as individuals, we need to have a look at, right? The way that we've been living our lives and stuff like that, right? Granted. But this is outright showing, again, the government is not working for you. If you're just a regular Welsh person, the government, doesn't matter who it is, whether it's your MP, your MS, it's not working for you. They're catering to the voting bloc which they want to bring in. And they're already doing that at the expense of you, because all of these charities, whether it's the Welsh Refugee Council or Sus Nostrans or whatever other charity, quote unquote, or non-governmental organization you want to throw out there, they're all funded by you because they're all funded by the government, and you fund the government, obviously, with your taxes and with everything that you have to pay in. And if you obviously don't pay them in, you end up going to prison for a long time. So again, no legal aid for people who've worked all their lives. And, you know, where's the legal aid for, again, this is more so to England at the moment, from what I understand, but where's the legal aid from people fighting, you know, free speech battles and stuff like that at the moment, you know, but they'll give free legal aid to, you know, asylum seekers or foreigners who've been like convicted of like drug offenses and stuff like that. More often than not, people that are coming in get to claim our legal aid to use against us, right? That's the kind of government that you have. And then people wonder why, with how much power that we've given the government, right? With how much power that we've given them, what authority we've given them, you wonder why things are in the state that they are. And granted, there's a case of individual accountability, but that comes from us and I would say our decisions that we make decisions that we make on a daily basis, and obviously decisions that we make at the ballot box. But then understanding, oh no, there are actually our enemies that are waging war against us. And we need to be like, oh, right, okay, well, I need to be a little bit more awake to this. And I need to understand that, hang on, not everything actually is my fault. Not everything actually is my fault. And I should maybe start working on those things to try and change them. Because ultimately, if we go along with the silent compliance route, and that's the thing that I get for talking about these things a lot, people that don't understand the ramifications of it, it's like, yeah, but they want you to be silent and compliant. That's exactly what they want. If you're silent and you're not voicing any opposition to it, you're not generating any public awareness, and ultimately the only thing that's going to generate any change, the only thing that they fear is public awareness, right? Because the only thing that we have on our side is our numbers. We don't have any monopoly on force, right? Because we don't have any arms or anything like that, or ability to band together with arms, right? We don't have any ability to band together in like our own militias and stuff like that and exert our force, right? Because everything ultimately comes down to force. Rights are force. And that's why the government, in having a monopoly on force, has a monopoly on your rights, and they can just decide what to take away and give at any point, right? So with that, we don't have any, you know, real capacity to band together in our own groups and in our own militias and in a way our de facto own governments, right? So we've given the authority to that. We've given the authority to the state. And then you wonder, again, why things start happening, things start going downhill. But if you don't end up voicing any opposition to that, if you don't end up generating any public awareness to that, well, ultimately nothing's going to change. And that can start with just one person being willing to stand up and say something. Right? I've had endless arguments with people about this because there is a lot of risk. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot of risk. You lose friends, you lose people in your social circle, you potentially lose employment. There's a lot of risk. That's why some people that really can't lose their employment right now, they reach out to me and they tell me things and I can relay them forward. At this point at the moment, I don't really have a lot to lose. You know? Mentioned before on one of the podcasts, the job let me go. So, and I know that it's everything that I've said, you know, and trying to generate public awareness, trying to make people aware, you know, for the good of the country and for the good of the future, right? It's costing me, you know, right now I don't really have a lot else that I can do, which is why I appreciate you guys' support so much. Thank you very much. But anyway, this is the thing. You have to understand that, yes, we have to look ourselves in the mirror, but we also have to understand that our government is against us. You paying tax to fuel your own downfall. And if you want things to be better, there's going to come a time where the rubber meets the road. And ultimately, we're going to have a decision to make. You're in the fight against this, whether you believe in it or not, and whether you want to be in it or not. You're in it either way. Unfortunately, that's just the way things are. That being said, let us serenade, well, not going to be me serenading, but allow Angela to give us one last hurrah on her way out the door. She's given us a song. Ladies and gentlemen, she's given us a song, and we're going to play a little bit of that song now for your amusement and entertainment. This has possibly been the best thing to come out of Angela Rayner's tenure. Take it away, Ange.
Angela Rayner pondering how many homes, Bought me one house, bought me two, flip another flat, tax man, no clue. 80k saved with a bright and tan, dodging more duty than the average man. How many homes can Rayner buy? Laughing at you, I love the tax they slide. How many homes, I'll name them all. Big and dancing in the Commons Hall. Council girl roots, but I climb that chain. For Ashton Street to the seaside lane, stamp duty short, 40 grand unpaid. Oops, bad bad advice, that's how it's played. Star my blushing, I'm still fine. You pay full tax, I skip the line. Court orders hush, I don't explain. Still stacking home, still playing the game. I pay less tax, but I laugh all day. Rayner style, that's the label way. How many homes can Rayner buy? Laughing at you with the tax they slide. How many homes, I'll name them all. Big and dancing in the comments.
That'll do. That's enough of the nonsense. So go on. Go have a look at that, ladies and gentlemen. You find that link down below. Hopefully the post hasn't been taken down. AI is going to be one of those things. It's either going to destroy the world or it's going to take us into a whole new realm we've never seen before for the better, right? It's going to go one of two ways. But stay tuned. We've got some songs later, by the way, or a song later, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that is guaranteed to keep you up at night. If this is the state of the political alternative that we've got, there's going to be far less in terms of good vibes than what we got at the moment. So take this moment, enjoy it. You know, in fact, because we've got such a depressing thing coming up later on in the show, I'm going to flash over. I'm going to play this a little bit more so we can have a couple more good vibes before we move on. Thank you very much, Ange.
How many homes can Rayner buy? Laughing at you with the tax they slide. How many homes, I'll name them all. Big and dancing in the comments hall. Tax man crying, Rayner smiling. One rule for me.
Well, Rayner not smiling so much anymore. One rule for me, one rule for you, indeed. If you enjoyed that clip, then make sure to go on over to the Voice of the Valleys X page at VOT_Valleys on X. We're also on Instagram at Voice of the Valleys. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon. Godspeed.
One rule for me, none for thee.